Brazil has taken a turn to left-wing leadership as former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has beaten far-right incumbent Jair Bolsonaro in the country's presidential election. After a divisive campaign which saw two rivals on opposite sides of the political spectrum, Lula da Silva won 50.9% of the votes. His rival, Jair Bolsonaro's supporters, had been confident of victory. Lula da Silva is having a stunning comeback because he could not run in the last presidential election in 2018, and that's because he was in jail and banned from standing for office. He was found guilty of receiving a bribe from a Brazilian construction firm in return for contracts with Brazil's oil company, Petrobras. Brazil's new leader spent 580 days in jail before his conviction was annulled, and he returned to the political fray. Kicking off his victory speech, Mr. Lula da Silva said, quote, "They tried to bury me alive, and here I am." For more on the Brazilian election, I am now being joined virtually from Washington, D.C. by Global Affairs analyst Sam Fati. Good to have you join us.
My pleasure.
I am sure that you have followed the run-up to the Brazilian election with keen interest, the divisive rhetorics, the polarization, and again, just the confidence from President Jair Bolsonaro that he was going to win this election. Why do you think that he failed to secure victory?
Look, I think Lula's work in the past when he was president kind of spoke to the people that at this particular point in time, globally, there are economic recessions that a lot of countries are about to face. People are facing real hard economic hardships in Brazil. Now, during Lula's time, they felt, things were a little bit better. Perhaps we bring him back and it will get better again. And this is what people in the workforce are looking for. So his history, being a union leader and standing up for being a part of the Workers' Party, gave him the support, and the conditions are right for him to be able to stand elections and win those particular elections, regardless of the accusations that he has passed through before with these corruption scandals. But they felt he did a good job with the economy in the past. He would have to use that formula or even a better one again to help the working class citizens of Brazil. I think Bolsonaro made a mistake, and especially after the first round of elections, he was kind of in the lead, but it was very narrow. And when oppositions unite against an incumbent, that narrow landslide that you had in the first round wouldn't even matter.
The two presidents of the Houses of Parliament have congratulated Lula Inácio da Silva, but the president has been silent. President Jair Bolsonaro has been silent. He has refused to concede, but he's also casting doubt on the integrity of the election that he presided over as president. How concerning is that for you if he refuses to concede?
That he is refusing to concede, but fair and square, he lost these elections. Congratulate Lula, and he can give it another shot next time. But I mean, he can rely on the fact if Lula is not going to succeed with his economic plans. I mean, you need to understand Lula is trying to use the global issues and economics to win an election. Bolsonaro was trying to use conservatism and religious differences in order to win the election. And he needed to understand exactly what the Brazilian wanted, and that is what his campaign should have focused on. So he missed an opportunity there, and he lost the elections. He should accept the elections. What worries me is the country is so polarized, so divided, and then the election result is so narrow. It may create violent tensions within the capital itself, and that is very, very concerning. They don't need that right now. He has to accept defeat and step away. And at this time, the international community and global leaders are congratulating Lula, and that says a lot. So if not for anything, it means even if he does or devise ways to stay in power, he wouldn't be legitimate, and he wouldn't be considered legitimate by globally. So that's another challenge that he's going to face, and I don't think he's going to do that. Maybe he is just a little bit shocked, and hopefully, like many other candidates who do not accept results, he will swallow his pride, come out and accept the results for the sake of prosperity for the nation.
And interesting you mentioned candidates who do not accept results, because you are in the U.S. and his supporters, and I'm talking about President Bolsonaro's supporters, are already using the same rhetoric we heard from in the U.S. They're alleging that the election was stolen, and that's what they're saying. But in his speech, Lula Inácio da Silva did say that from the 1st of January, when he becomes president, that, quote, we won't be two Brazils, we are one, almost sounding the same, almost as the same statement Joe Biden made when he was being inaugurated. But I wonder how successful he has been in terms of uniting the U.S. How much of a challenge do you think is before Lula da Silva in terms of uniting Brazil?
Look, listen, I don't think he has much of a challenge. At the end of the day, the results are the results, and people have to live with it and accept this. I think it's sort of a new political order for incumbents to lose elections and do not even accept it. Mind you, this was the same processes and elections that these incumbents used to come to power, and then now you lose and you want to say, no, there's an issue with our election system and processes. It is prone to fraud. And at the end of the day, when you win, you said, no, it is rich-proof. I mean, I come from the Gambia. I have heard a former president say that. And then a week later, he's like, oh, no, I didn't lose this election. It was fraudulent. So this is what the politicians will do. But at the end of the day, the very election that brought you to power is the very one that kicked you out. So if it was rich-proof then it cannot be so prone to fraud as they are declaring right now. At the end of the day, what's going to happen is power is going to be handed over, just like in the U.S., whether they accept it or not. Trump never accepted his defeat. He is still not accepting his defeat. Most far-right politicians that we see in America today are not even accepting defeats. You go to Alaska, the person contesting governor says he would accept the results if she wins, but will not accept if she loses. The same thing is happening in Brazil. It's happening everywhere. But at the end of the day, what the needful would happen, Lula would get sworn in, and he doesn't have to say anything. He would have to recontest elections again if he wants to be president ever.
We'll see how things play out. Thank you so much for your analysis always. Global Affairs Analyst Sam Fati.
My pleasure.